Oh, that's funny.
You got this, dude.
All right, hello there, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Rajmora, and this is episode 34 of the Town Center, your podcast dedicated to all things Age of Empires. Today, I'm not joined by Viper, who's still enjoying a well-deserved vacation, but in my good friends, T90 and Dave, I've found two great replacements, and together we're going to talk about the just finished Medieval Masters, and be aware, because there are going to be tons and tons of spoilers, obviously. Then, it seems like the transfer window has just reopened again in the Age of Empires 2 scene, as Liereyy and HEARTTT have announced they're leaving their teams, and we'll also hear from T90 and Dave about their respective tournaments for the next season. That's TTL 5 and Masters of Hyperrandom 3. If you guys enjoy our show, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you prefer to listen to us on Spotify, don't forget to rate us 5 stars. T90, Dave, my friends, always a pleasure having you guys join me. Thank you so much for taking the time. And, Tristan's been here quite often, but you, Dave, not so much, which leads me to the question. How's that Island Empire video coming along, Dave?
Number 2, I think you asked me last time, dude. I tried to do a follow-up. It wasn't a sequel. It was like the same style. And I sank 30 hours into it. And I realized it was about a quarter done. And my computer was like dying. It was my old computer. So I just gave up. It's in the bin now. It's never to see the light of day. It was fantastic as well, I might add. Absolutely stunning.
Wait, it's lost forever?
Just
Is that what you're saying?
Can you imagine
somewhere maybe? I don't know.
Can you imagine Dave's like such an? Can you imagine if someone finds that on some old hard drive 50, 60 years from now, what that would go for at auction? An unfinished Dave edit. Oh man,
Yeah,
go
at least
for millions.
$5, bro.
At least $5.
At the very least.
Yeah.
Dave, I'm going to have to call misinformation on that, bro, because last time you were here, that was, when was it? That was right before Hidden Cup 5, so that must have been 2023? 2023? You said you had invested already 50 hours, and the video was almost done, bro.
Did I say 50?
I think you said 50. That was over a year ago. So.
Well, I mean, that was more current information back then. So maybe I did put 50. I remember like 30 or so. I know it was a lot, dude. I know it was a lot. Like,
man, what a sad day that it's gone forever, though. Well,
Yeah.
I guess sometimes that's just how it goes. Okay, boys, let's dive in, and I'd like to start with the Medieval Masters, which just finished yesterday. So it was actually the first final that Hera lost in over 18 months. And that was only possible because Mr. Yo decided to show up and play some lights out Age of Empires 2. And he ended up taking home the trophy after beating Hera 4-2 in an extremely entertaining final. By the way, superiorly cast by you guys. And I know I sound a bit like a broken record when I say these things all the time, but I think you guys are phenomenal doing these things. I don't know how you guys do it, but great energy, you're funny, you're knowledgeable. Such a good time listening to you guys. And last time Hera won an A-tier tournament, was in 2022. A lot of people have already talked about this. That was the only land cup. Do you guys know what the prize pool was for that one?
Not 10K.
$1,250.
$2,000. So that's a point for you,
Close.
Dave. $2,000. So that's what it took to make an A-tier tournament back in 2022. And that's what I'd actually like to start here, Dave, because how much can you actually read into this victory of Mr. Yo? Of course, we don't want to take any credit away from it. But Hera hasn't won an A-tier tournament since 2022. He was streaming. He was interacting with chat. So do you see this as competition getting closer? Or is this just, par for the course because Hera hasn't been able to win an A-tier tournament in 3 years?
I think I look back to the finals of Warlords, which had the same competitors, right? It was Yo and Hera kind of wiped the floor with him, right? Was it a 5-0 or was it a...
I think there was a game
5-1,
there.
I think.
5-1? Yeah. I think if Yo brings the same level he brought yesterday to that finals, it's a lot closer. Like, Yo was on one yesterday. Yo was crazy yesterday. And do I think that he could beat Hera in an S-tier best of 9? Very, very unlikely, even if he plays like yesterday. But there's always a chance, right? And I think it was more just Yo bringing up his level a little bit than Hera not being prepared for an A-tier as much as an S-tier, especially because these are really standard maps. They just played these maps, although
Exactly.
it was Nineville. In Warlords, right? So Hera's very, very used to these. He doesn't really need to practice those types of maps, and he doesn't really need to come up with unique builds. Neither does Mr. Yo, and maybe that's why Yo got so deep, because we know famously that Yo doesn't really prepare until he's halfway through the tournament. He's played 5 sets, he's all warmed up, and he's ready to go.
So you see it as, it being best of 7 was one of the things that gave him the edge, as opposed to being best of 9, for example. Okay, that's an interesting fact. That's interesting, actually. And I think that's also a very good point, Tristan, that these were actually the maps that these guys have been playing all the time, which in theory shouldn't require all that much preparation. But, HEARTTT did say he did do the same amount of preparation that he would do for an S-tier tournament, but at the same time, he wasn't trying to take any credit away from Mr. Rio. How could you, right? That was just an amazing performance from him.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of, on the preparation front, because Warlords was so similar in map pool, Hera used the majority of the same openings and draft structure and everything that he did before. So I'm with Dave. I don't think there was a lot of dip in terms of like strategy. It wasn't like you watched Hera play. If he lost, it was because holy crap, look what Mr. Yo was able to do. So yeah, for me, yeah, you would expect everyone with an S tier to maybe have a little bit more like preparation and maybe some strategy and maybe thinking. But yeah, I honestly just want to give full respect to Mr. Yo. It was, I mean, Hera on the ropes was something crazy to watch, right? Like games where Yo, it's like, okay, Yo should win this, and it was not happening right away, and it just continued. That was something special. So special that someone else won a tournament. I think good for Age of Empires, and I think for Hera and his fans as well. Like as Dave said in the cast, like he doesn't like to lose, and good luck in the next tournament, everyone, because I'm sure Hera's going to have a fire.
Good luck in the next A tier. Good luck in the next A tier 1v1, because he might take that as seriously as his next S tier.
Yeah, I don't think he's losing an A-tier tournament ever again. But it's interesting because we just said he hasn't won an A-tier tournament since 2022, but I don't think he's been in a final for a long time either.
Yeah, he goes out early.
He hasn't signed up for some.
Right,
yeah.
He loses. I actually looked it up, but I forgot to write down. I think the last final that he lost was in 2023 against Viper in that medieval, what was it, Middle Eastern tournament? You guys remember that?
Yeah, Middle Eastern tournament, best of 7, insane best of 7.
Right, he lost to Viper. That was
he lost 4-3.
Yes, wow, that's exactly
Nelson,
2023. Yes, go ahead.
There is a big one that we're overlooking though. It was the Sax Arabia Cup, which was $20,000, which did not qualify as S tier. But Hera lost the quarterfinals 4-3 to Sato.
I believe.
Well, no, he lost 4-3 to Sato.
Yeah.
Then Sebastian beat Sato 4-3 in the semis, and then Sebastian won the whole tournament. Yes, but Hera didn't even make the finals there. So
well, Thalassocracy Cup, Hera lost in round of 32. Wandering Warriors Cup 2, I think he lost in round of 16, right?
Yeah, so I don't know the tiers. Everyone likes to talk S tiers. I don't know where that line is drawn.
Yeah, the point I'm trying to make here, though, is that the last final that he lost was in 2023. That means that when he goes to the final, it's very rare that someone can actually take him, right? Yeah. Because even if you say that he doesn't take it as seriously as an S tier tournament, once you're in the final, he's probably going to try to win. I mean, of course he's going to try to win. So I think that it sort of elevates Mr. Yo's performance, which again, it's just so fun watching Mr. Yo play. You don't know what's going to happen next, and the guy just does not let loose, right? That arena game with just more towers and just more towers, and the Lithuanian game and that was at Pacific Islands, such an amazing. What do you guys think? What does it take to beat Hera? It's just this relentless aggression that Mr. Yo was displaying, really not letting him expand. I think that's one of the things that he did amazingly well. Just don't let Hera expand, because if you give him a little bit of room, he's going to keep making TC, he's going to keep dropping farms and going to do all of that. So is this the way to stop him, Tristan? Just don't let him expand. Just don't let go of the pressure.
Yes, but to an extent, like, it has to be calculated aggression. If it's all in, you can't be the best of the best, because they hold one single time and they out-macro you and you're done. If you don't pressure them or don't take map control, then they outperform and they take it. So I think a little bit of chaos. If you look at the way those games were, it was like strategic masterpiece from Yo, right? And it was all on hybrid maps, all on maps where a lot of different things can happen. I think if it's maps where it's a little bit more one-dimensional, sorry, Arabia fans, but like Arabia, those everyone knows what the situations are. There's only so many things you can do. You're structured in what you can do. And there's other examples of that as well. Even Arena. Yo turned that into a completely different arena game than what Hera or everyone typically sees, right? Like, so that's kind of what you have to do. But it's just really hard to find that because there's a lot of wild ideas. Everyone's got fun, crazy strategies. Dave and I will jokingly mention a bunch, but there's very few that actually can work and be applicable. So it was 3 straight wins from Yo with 3 craziness that Hera was not really expecting. And really only one of them, I think, Hera could even have foreseen, and that would have been the Pacific Islands game. I really think the second you see Lithuanians, you don't freaking land that island where Yo is, dude. You take the tiny island on the side because that's exactly what Yo wanted. That's exactly what Yo wanted, and he sent it. So, anyways, it takes a lot, but yeah, you got to find what Yo did those 3 games to beat him.
I saw Hera. I was watching Hera's stream once it was over. He was just so mad at that Doubt Castle. He felt like that's what stopped him from winning the whole thing. You know,
but the reason he went for that Doubt Castle is because Yo was distracting him on the left side, which is something Yo does so well, right?
Yeah.
So Hera thought about the castle on the left, and he's like, I can't put it there. It's way too risky. So he goes for one that's 10 times riskier from the random transport over on the right. And most of the time that castle goes up, but unfortunately he didn't see that Yo had already expanded there. And Yo has a really good response to that. It was still such a close run thing. I'm glad we got that castle because it made the final game so entertaining. And the hype, sometimes, you know, it's like an online chat, but you can feel the tension kind of building in that Twitch chat. Like, can he pull this off? And when a moment like that happens for us casters, it's just amazing because it gets my energy levels up. I can tell everyone is not tuning out of the stream. Nobody left the stream at that
Nobody's going to leave in that moment. Yeah.
And it was just an incredible moment for Yo to deny that castle and to Hera to come back and try and complete it with 4 villagers. If you haven't checked it out, go watch the final game.
That game was amazing.
It was so close.
But I think that's an incredibly good point, Dave. Errors, mistakes don't happen in a vacuum, right? So you have to put pressure on someone, especially someone like Hera, in order for him to make mistakes. And I think Hera very much acknowledged it too. I mean, there was a lot of respect from Hera to Mr. Yo on Twitter. I saw a lot of his answers. Like, he's a beast. You know, he's a beast. He played amazing. There's nothing else to say, really. Now, Tristan, Skirms, bro. We see Skirms all the time, and I think you're one of the guys that was not really happy about this development in the Age of Empires 2 meta. And I think one of your proposed solutions was to increase the training time, if I'm not mistaken. But first of all, why do you dislike the Skirms meta so much? Because there's always going to be a meta. Right now it seems to be Skirms. What's so bad about it?
Well, I mean, part of what gets boring about any meta is just because it's been the same thing for a certain period of time, right? So it's not just the unit, but like every single Socotra used to be Vil Wars and towers and craziness. Now it's just one range skirm and macro and just out skirm the other. There's other examples of that too. So it doesn't, it's a consequence of really defensive play, and it doesn't promote offensive play. And so with that meta, it's just like, I find the games are really one-dimensional, and technically in the tech tree, there's things you can do to add to counter skirmishers, right? But then that one inclusion of a monk and your knights can't work well and like have died to TCs, and so you just have skirm sitting next to TCs and booming up towards imp a lot of the time. So I just think it's boring, and I think it's just and like. All the ladder is every single day at a high level is you just see a lot of skirms, a lot of reasons why you shouldn't go other things. So I would like to see the part of the issue for me is really the production speed. So nothing radical. I just think before it was like everyone would say, okay, Scout Archer wins on a map like Land Madness because the archers can actually kill the scouts. Skirm can't. Well, people figured out, well, actually, I can make 15 skirmishers in the time it takes you to make a lesser number of archers. And especially with the state of pathing right now, your scouts are not collapsing on my skirms anyways, and they just never go to gold. So I just kind of got tired of it. I mentioned it a couple times in the final.
Well, yeah, I did hear it a couple of times.
It was just like, I was just like, what happened to my Socotra, dude? This skirm wars. Like Dave and I literally for 20 minutes were just looking at skirms micro next to Yo's archer range. It
was brilliant gameplay by
Great
Hera.
play. Yeah, great play.
It was exactly where he needed to pressure. But the problem with skirms, like you're mentioning them in Castle Age, even in Feudal Age, Tristan, you have a triangle of counters for a reason. Scouts are
Yep.
supposed to counter skirms. I guess it's a square because there's 4 units you can make, but you know,
it's a
you understand the thought process.
We talk about
Archers
triangles all the time,
counter spearmen, you know, and they soft counter scouts, and then skirms are supposed to counter spearmen and archers, and scouts don't counter skirmishers because you have so many skirms in a group. If you have 15 skirms and the other person has 3 scouts, they can't win that fight. If they have 4 scouts, they probably can't win that fight either. And all it takes is 1 spearman for 6 scouts to suddenly not be good against those 15 skirms, right? So it's just kind of breaking the counter system. And it's not something I think that was intended.
Mhm.
And it's something that's come about because people are really good at managing their ecos and really good at keeping up production. So as the player's skill level rises, you need to adapt the units to fit that, right? So like production time is easy. Skirms are the perfect price. I think just production time. I agree with Tristan. Or increase that a little bit.
The other thing on the skirm front, 50% of the maps being chickens makes skirmishers a lot more prevalent.
He
because
hates chickens.
He hates skirms.
No.
he hates
This
chickens.
has nothing to do. This has nothing to do. I do really like what chickens bring to the table strategically and all that.
Okay, cool.
I mainly complain about how loud they are, but yeah, like scout builds are affected by the chickens. And more prone to see a little bit of early walling, more prone to have those later uptimes. So when you got chickens, it actually affects archer and scout build. It incentivizes a little bit more walling, spear, defensive play, and then skirms are defensive. So that's just the final thing. I think that's the other part of it. But a slight tweak. I don't want anything revolutionary here. It's literally just how many can be produced. I don't know the difference between skirms
It's
and archers.
pretty big. So archers is 35 seconds, skirms 22, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a pretty big difference there.
Yeah,
27. Bring them up to 27.
Yeah,
Easy.
to start. And then maybe we need a tweak here or there, but yeah, just something, and we'll see how it goes.
Sometimes I feel like we're back to the old days, guys. You guys remember 20 years ago, skirms was all that players would do. You know, you think about Art, Kova, and Grunt, all those guys.
God, all those old wrecks. Old wrecks.
Such nostalgia thinking about those things. Now, to be fair, they would go up like pop 25 or whatever, and folks are going up pop 18 these days. But I talked a little bit to Taro about this, and he pretty much agrees with you guys 100% that the production speed needs to be delayed, needs to be increased. And he was telling me he thinks this meta is developed because folks are going up a lot faster than usual. And, you know, back in the days, you maybe could be able to make like 2 archery ranges. But these days, because you're upping so fast, you don't have economy for 2 production buildings. So you're making the unit that trains the fastest. And that's skirms. And that's why he thinks that skirms are dominating right now.
There's also so many civs that have food-based bonuses that didn't have it before.
Right.
You think about Incas, right, with the discount. You think about Catans with the pastures being insane, right? You think about even a civ like Poles, you have full works. That's just food for days. We didn't have that before, so we have to adapt the units based around the new civilization bonuses that we have.
No, I was thinking, of course, this tournament is going to be memorable because of this amazing final. But if you take that away, this is actually Mario's first tournament. The first time he was given, I mean, I don't know if it was his first tournament, but it's the first time that he was given $10,000 from Microsoft. So what do you guys make of the tournament? Again, try to ignore the final, which was obviously amazing. But if you think about everything before, is there something about the rules you guys think he should have done a little bit better? Because he's going to be sponsored again for next tournament. And so he might be actually looking for a little bit of feedback here. Dave?
I think some more custom map scripts, because he used the standardized map scripts, if I remember correctly. And some of the generations are not the greatest, right? You look at 4 Lakes, the wood lines on 4 Lakes right up against the pond, where everyone gets one, and you can get absolutely screwed over by gold positions, right? And then Arena, we had to restart. Fortress, we had to restart.
The relics.
So that's a really simple thing that if you get a good map scripter, they can make that more consistent, right? Shout out to people like T-West, who is an absolute god at scripting. And you can balance that sort of thing. But other than that, like, it's clear to me that he kind of wanted a tournament based around skill expression and not, you know, gimmicky strats, which is why he went for the more standard variant, right? And I think overall, especially the later rounds, it was pretty good, honestly. I think he did a great job.
I need to tell you guys about a comment that Liereyy made about the restarts. So I think it was after the second restart. Was it on Arena? It was on Arena, right? Liereyy was in Harris chat saying, how can it be that A-tier administrators are better than S-tier administrators? Because, there's no restarts called in the S-tier tournaments. And Liereyy agreed. Liereyy actually agreed with the calls. I think both came a little bit late, a little bit on the later side, right? Could have been called a little bit earlier. But does seem like the administration of this tournament was a lot more, willing to call these kinds of restarts, Tristan.
Yeah, I mean, it's all super situational, right? Here's the tricky thing about like admitting and fairness. It's like, was there anything in the rules that specified the specifics of what is an admin restart or not? Probably not. They just tried to be reasonable about it. But there can be some situations where it gets a little bit more.
It's very hard to name every single thing, right? It's just basically impossible.
Because like you could make an argument. You wait too long, which they waited a decent amount of time. You could look at the other person's build and know what they were doing. That's bad. So anyways, I think overall was really solid. I felt as a tournament host myself and also a caster, the communication, the way communication was to the community and like more so the streamers was a little bit off. I found it really tough to know, is it going to be Rex or is it going to be live? What's happening? The event was held and managed within his community Discord.
Right.
And there's like a million channels in there. So
it's
very
Spanish.
messy, getting lots of notifications to like people, I think, asking if they want to play games, and they're like 1200 elo. Just that to me felt like if he wants to bump up the professionalism and improve, probably going with the standard of having your own dedicated Discord for the event is a good route to go for communication to everyone. Those are the main things. I mean, those are all tweaks that can be made, and we've all kind of, every time you host an event, you learn small things, and so I would say overall it was a really good event. I felt he wanted to probably not get too crazy with it, which is why he didn't do the maps, but he also probably didn't realize how rough some of the map generations can be until the players started to play them. So just lesson learned.
Okay, as always, I like to report on the viewership of these tournaments. So he had a 25,000 peak viewership. That's all platforms combined, which is more than I was expecting and was roughly on par with the Cartographers 2, which had 20,000. I believe he's going to be very happy about it, and I believe Microsoft Nilly is going to be very happy about it too. So I'm happy that he had that. Of course, all of this is helped by having an amazing final, going almost the distance and being so iconic in the way that it was. Okay, boys, I'd like to move on to the transfer window. Do you guys follow football a little bit? I love it when the transfer window opens.
He's Man U. I'm Chelsea.
Yeah, so I try not to follow, honestly.
Yeah. I'm following a little bit more than him nowadays.
It's too painful to follow, man.
By the way, rip Diogo Jota. You guys know
that was tragic.
Yeah, I know. And you're Portuguese.
I'm Portuguese.
As well.
Hey, he was from my club. He was born in my city. I didn't
horrible.
know him personally, of course, but
yeah, so sad.
Yeah, very, very sad. So rip. All right, so by the time everybody is listening to this, it will be public information that HEARTTT is leaving the Team Wonders and Liereyy is leaving Onimaru. On top of that, Onimaru also teased an announcement for Tuesday, which is today for the folks listening to this on publishing day. And they strongly suggested, guys, they will most likely announce Jordan as a new player. Again, there's no official confirmation, but that's my guess. Then in a more recent teaser, it actually looks like it will be 2 players joining Onimaru. They have like this table. They have like a video with a table and 2 contracts and then a Brazilian flag and a German flag. They love doing these things with the AI and all, and all of that. If I had to guess, I'll maybe Dokao, but again, I'm not very confident in this one, but I'm fairly confident that Jordan is going to be one of them. So, Dave, Jordan is back, I guess, for the 20th time. Is it going to be different this time, you think?
I mean, we'll see, right? He is streaming more or less consistently. I think I was just about to go to sleep the other night at like 1 a.m, and he was already an hour deep into his stream. And he said like Saturday morning stream. I'm like, morning? It's like 6 for you. What are you doing?
Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he had a good first couple comeback sets, right, in the Warlords qualifiers. And everyone was like, oh my God, Jordan's back. But then we saw him kind of struggle a little bit. Like in this tournament, he definitely struggled. And maybe it's because he put in less practice in preparation for this. Maybe it's because, he had worse practice partners or people weren't helping him as much as before. But I want to see the effort level continued from him, right? This can't just be a fling like it was previous times where he came back. He's really got to commit to it if he wants those big results, because everyone else at the top is committing. I really don't know where he's going to go. I think the talent's still there. He's definitely still one of the best players with the slow build up into late game.
Doubt would disagree, just saying that the talent is there.
Yeah, well, what does Doubt know about that nowadays? So
Fair,
anyway,
fair.
I have to take jabs at Doubt because Viper isn't here. I don't.
Someone has to. Yeah, someone has to.
yeah. But I really don't know, man. I don't know what we're gonna see from Jordan. If he's signing, then that should be a lot of motivation for him, because I know Jordan, especially when other people are relying on him, I think he does better than when it's just for himself. So if he feels a responsibility towards a team, I think he's going to play better than flying solo.
I think the problem with this, on again, off again, I believe it's going to get increasingly difficult for him to actually reach those higher levels, because all the other guys are going to keep playing, are going to gather more and more experience.
So I spoke to Jordan a little bit, and I know like kind of his personal situation. And listen, I think the thing you gotta realize, there's not a lot of players who can get given any type of money to just play the game, right? And there's not a lot of opportunities for that. And I know Jordan, when he parted from GL, there was, even though like there seemed like all the conversation was, oh, Jordan's just going to leave, he still did want to compete, but he couldn't really justify it because the results had to come, and he then had no salary whatsoever. And then, of course, there was the heartbreak of not being with his friends, of the team he was there for some time. So I think with Jordan, there's like very little expectation on himself. There's a team who probably is treating him well, probably giving him a little bit of a salary, whatever that is. And I mean, I don't know if Jordan's thinking a year, 2 years, 3 years down the line. I just think he's thinking about the here and now. And I was pleasantly surprised with the level he was able to bring coming right back. Like, that's not something anyone really expected from Jordan. So he may take it event by event, or however long this contract is, to see how things play out. I find if it's Jordan, and I would guess it probably is.
I'm fairly confident, yeah.
The squad of Anima is still very interesting to me.
Very interesting.
Jordan, and like it's got the Brazil base for sure.
It's got Andy as well.
It feels like the owner's a Brazilian fan.
Lewis.
But like Fire and Jordan were both Tyrant like 10 plus years ago.
True.
But I never got the impression that they were like buddies. So it's Lewis, and of course you had Liereyy. It's still a weird addition. Now Dogao joining is interesting. That's my guess, because he left his fellow Sheep team, which was a team that was formed by some of his friends. It was kind of like a for fun type deal. So I don't know. I'm curious to see where it goes. But like on a surface level, wherever these players are, there's not a lot of opportunities to have someone who is like, hey, let me give you this cool experience, like maybe a preparation or training session in a location. Let me fund you monthly a little bit and light a fire under their ass. There's not a lot of opportunities. So I hope it builds up some positivity in them, and also just affects their life better. Like I want Age of Empires players to have more comfortable life and be able to build a little bit more of a life around the game. So I hope that works out.
I kind of feel like, Dave, Liereyy also always felt like a little bit out of place in Onamaru. You have this guy as the second best player in the world, arguably, and like a huge gap between him and the next players. And I would understand that kind of thing if Liereyy was the kind of guy who would then coach all the other players and help them get better. You know Liereyy better than me, but he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who's actually going to sit down with his teammates and coach him, how to get better and what they're doing in terms of mistakes. Or am I totally off base here?
I think if you're at a LAN event and Liereyy has free time and you ask him for a favor, he'll do it for you. But if it's online and you're messaging him and he's got other things to do, which he usually does, I mean, like, it's understandable, right? Leary's just not that type of dude. He's a really good guy in person. I love Liereyy. He's a great guy, and he will talk to you about the game for 20 minutes, but then he's gone and he's doing something else, right? Like, he's going out to get French fries, or he's going to shisha or something like that. He's living his life, right?
He's living his life.
Yeah, he's a lone wolf kind of guy. You get along with him really well. He's a really good dude. He never brushes off fans. He never brushes off us casters, other players, nothing like that. He's very polite, very intelligent. That's his type of personality, and it's okay to be like that, you know? Does it gel well with an esports team and developing new talent? No. But that might be what makes him the second best player in the world currently, that type of mentality. And that might be what makes him do so well when he doesn't put in the same amount of hours as other people, doesn't play rank, doesn't do any of that stuff. It's just, he's his own thing.
He's efficient. He's efficient.
Exactly.
His like the way he manages Age of Empires and his full-time job and whatever is like the way he manages his macro behind crossbows in a 1v1. Like, Hart is said many times, like, Liereyy is the most efficient Age of Empires 2 pro. He will show up, he'll do a training session, boom, done, he's out of there. And then he shows up, he plays his tournament, boom, done. Top 4 every time, he's out of there. He's efficient, and you have to be, though. Like, if you're working a full-time job, if you're pursuing anything else in your life, you do have to be. I know that, like, the 2v2 tournament rolled around, right? You had Hart, who just joined Wonders. Exciting for people who want to see players move around. You had Liereyy, who just moved to Onimaru. They didn't play with their teammates. They played with each other. They're best friends, right? And Hera's included that. To my knowledge, like, Liereyy never trains with anyone beyond Hart and Hera. That's I've never really heard of that.
I thought ACCM trained with him a few times. I think Sebastian
not
did
before
as well.
Wandering Warriors Cup.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Not for Wandering Warriors
Not
Cup.
Before Wandering Warriors Cup. That might be true. Like, and that's the thing is Liereyy. We maybe don't know as much about Lierey's situation because of his efficiency and maybe his privacy. But I think that if Hart left Wonders and if Liereyy left Onimaru, there's an opportunity that's probably coming up for them. And when Wii Sports ended, they didn't have anything, and there were some opportunities that came up. So they're probably like, cool. But they might have been joining these teams with the thinking of, let's try and get together again and build something up. So I would assume, especially with the way Onimaru's statement was, which I still can't figure out if that's written by a human or if that's written by ChatGPT.
It's ChatGPT 100%. I mean, there's a human giving a prompt, of course, but it's 100% translated by ChatGPT.
Some of their other posts, it kind of sounds like someone just died, honestly. When you read it,
very
I
emotional.
Feel like
but I love it. I love it. I love the passion, I love it.
Yeah. Anyways, what was I talking about?
You were saying there's probably an opportunity for them.
They said, like, the message they posted said they can't compete financially, which implies that Lierey's got another opportunity. It doesn't imply that, like, the team synergy isn't there, or it doesn't imply anything else. So
I spoke a little bit with Onimaru, and they did tell me he left in friendly terms. Everybody, fulfilled their part of the job of the contract, so there's no animosity there. Again, you're going to hear a lot of speculations. I've heard a couple of things. You probably heard a couple of things. It's not up to me to actually reveal everything that I've heard. One thing I want to say that I think it's now pretty much official is that Liereyy is not joining Gamer Legion. And I already saw a couple of comments on Reddit where they're like, well, if he joins Gamer Legion, it's so over. I mean, it was over when Hera joined, and now it's over again if Liereyy joins. But Timon made a comment, and he made it pretty much official that he's not joining Gamer Legion. So that's pretty much official. People can take that to the bank. And one thing I just want to mention, because we're talking about players coaching other players. Have you guys seen MBL coaching people to beat Phosphor? Have you guys seen those videos?
So funny.
It's hilarious, bro.
The best part about that The best part about that is that MBL had no clue who had gotten volunteered to go with him the first time.
It was
Like
a Mitchie player or something.
Emu Warrior is known for playing closed maps, super defensive, like fortified wall type guy. And then MBL's in voice chat raging at this dude, surprised he can't react to all these things. Is so funny. And yet, like, just screaming calm down in someone's ear, that's the opposite of what someone needs in that moment.
100% success rate.
It was so good.
Really funny. I loved it as well. Last guy, spoilers, the last guy actually beat Phosphor. I don't know if you guys have seen the last video, but the last guy actually beat Phosphor. So he was, it was like, well, this proves everything, obviously. So don't even need to to keep going. This proves I was right.
I will say that I played a team game with Phosphor, and he tried on the flank. It was a 3v3 Arabia to go fast castle Karambits. And he was dead for 45 minutes with less than 20 villagers. And his response to me when I asked him what was going on, he's like, bro, I'm the fakest 2K of all time. I'm secretly a 1400. Leave me alone. He's like, I'm not very good at the game. It just, I managed to win. And I'm like, all right, fair game, dude.
Were you against him or were you teamed with him?
No, I was teamed with him.
Me
and Daniela were teamed with him. It was like a late night game, and he's like, dude, I'm a 1400.
Oh, okay.
It's so funny.
That's funny.
That's funny.
I do appreciate, the way that he really tries to find out about things with his funnel thing now.
He's so creative.
I love that when people do this. And I think that's a niche that not a lot of people are doing too, right? So I kind of love it. Okay, so I'd like to switch gears here to the Titans League 5. If you've watched our last episode with Neely, you will have noticed that the Titans League 5 is the tournament that will receive the highest amount of sponsorship money from Microsoft for the 2025-26 season. That's $100,000. Tristan, you made a video about everything that's going to change for TTL 5 with the added funds, which I'll be linking down below. But long story short, and feel free to correct me here, the Silver League, which was previously just a qualifier bracket, is now its own independent league, which will be running alongside Gold and Platinum. And you're introducing a Bronze League, which now becomes effectively the qualifier for the Silver League. Is that roughly what it is?
Roughly correct. Silver might not fully overlap with Gold and Platinum. That may be the tail end of this year. But yeah, it's essentially the format's expanded. More players get to play in a league format, and then the qualifier, which was previously like a silver bracket, since it's now a league, becomes bronze, and is got like some money in it as well. So yeah.
Okay, so before I ask you the hard questions, let me soften up you a little bit.
Wait, there's going to be hard questions. Let me sign up for hard questions.
Let me soften you up a little bit.
Go at him, Nelson. Go at him.
Well, hard questions.
No, not really hard.
I thought we were all friends.
No, not really hard. Yeah, so let me just get the obvious out of the way. I don't think anybody would dispute that in terms of like the long-term viability of Age of Empires 2 community, professional scene, this tournament does by far the most for the players. I think you're now paying, what is it officially, 72 players are going to get a prize money from this tournament?
Could be well over that. I think it could be
well over
up to 100 with bronze, because like bronze, the people who don't make it into silver, gold, or platinum are also going to get some money. So yeah, maybe 100 roughly. Don't quote me on that, but something like that.
So a lot of people are going to get money for this tournament. You have the biggest audience in the professional scene, so you're going to give a lot of people the opportunity, to expose themselves to a larger audience and all of that. So I don't know if the dates are set in stone. You just implied that they are not, but I see on Liquipedia it's showing that it's going to run from January 26th until March 22nd. Is that set in stone, or could that still change?
I believe that's pretty close to set in stone. There could be some tweaks because of other calendar stuff, but that's most likely it.
Okay, so you'll remember, because we talked about this, but you'll remember there was a little bit of criticism, namely from the players of this organization, that TTL 4 was a bit too long. And if I'm making the calculations correct here, this one's going to be even longer. So it's 8 weeks versus 7.
It was 9 last time.
It was 9? Okay.
So it was 9, but Gold and Platinum did have a weird overlap. So I think it would have been 7 of playing for both Gold and Plat. And this time it would be the same.
Okay, so
it's just that we have Gold starting slightly before platinum. So it should be the same amount of length for the players.
Okay, so you didn't make it longer. Okay, and that means you're confident this is the best format for this tournament, and you're not willing to change it. Okay. Actually, let me hear something from you, Dave. Well, what do you make of this criticism that we heard from a lot of players that the tournament is just too long?
I mean, I think that criticism came from the players that are already getting good placements in other tournaments, like Hera, right? Hera, Liereyy, etc. People who are already making it deep in the other tournaments and have plenty going on, which is a valid criticism for them. But to be fair to them, this tournament isn't for the top guys. It's not for the top 16. This league format is so that new people can break into that. And I think like 1 or 2 sets a week for those people, perfectly doable. And it's more, for me, Titans League is more about silver, gold league players trying to rise up, or players that have already risen up trying to stay in the platinum league, right? Rather than going through and getting a deep run into the finals. So while I acknowledge the criticism from a lot of people and think it's fair from their perspective, they're in the minority. And I think this tournament is all about benefiting the majority of our pro scene rather than the guys at the very top.
I think that's an excellent point, by the way. Yeah. Even if you look at the prize pool distribution, again, you're giving, as you just said before, a lot of people a lot of money. So one thing that I do wonder, if you're adding a total new league to this, Tristan, that could make, I imagine that's going to make broadcasting a little bit tougher. Because, I mean, you're only one guy, officially, at least you're only one guy.
Yeah.
And if you're having trouble covering, gold and silver, you're going to have even more trouble now covering one more league. So is there going to be like a little bit of coordination with potentially other streamers in order to get more games covered? I mean, Dave loves covering Gold League. Every time I see somebody covering the Gold League, it's going to be Dave. So
I like it more than Plat. I like it more than Plat. Don't blame me. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's an amazing league. You see all these people trying to rise in level and all that. But yeah, is there going to be a little bit of coordination there with more streamers, perhaps?
Really hard for me to I have so much to manage with my normal content and making sure the event organization's smooth with the admins and the maps and all that. Very hard for me. I think people want me to go to other streamers, create a schedule, announce that stuff. That's a very difficult task for me. And I've tried that in the past, and then there's this weird things of just T90 showing favoritism to this person, or people get offended because I don't talk to them, or because I don't, it creates a lot more chaos, I guess. In the previous seasons, there were a lot of people who stepped up and covered, the silver qualifier, which was epic because I was traveling at the time. So, that was cool. Gold as well. There were people that stepped up. So I think I'm not going to be able to properly get everyone in a room and create a schedule, but I'm going to let people know in a video, hey, check out these other people. They did this last time. This is where you can look for streams, etc. Because gold and platinum are structured pretty much the exact same way as last time. I don't expect any massive changes there on my side. I will still cover everything I can to the max. And then the silver is the tail end of this year. So the challenge for me, actually, Microsoft has given me an amazing opportunity with a lot of money. And the silver aspect will overlap with other things in the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And so, frankly, the challenge for me is if I'm streaming over other calendar events or other events that are there and overlooking those, that could be very unhealthy for the scene, I think. So that's going to be the tough thing for me. Still putting focus on those other events because they're going to be tail end of the events with a lot of the top players, but then also giving focus to the silver guys. Slam's going to be trying to get back up, and maybe he'll be in
show
silver.
Show him, Dave.
Let's go. It's no secret that Slam is trying to get back up.
To the people only listening to this, Dave has got a jersey on from Slam back when he was on Team Secret,
baby.
Team Secret.
Yeah.
So that's some vintage merch right there.
Yeah, so that's the challenge. We'll see. I would love to cover everything, but there's also, as I said, a lot of other events happening. So I I think it's good for the scene that I don't have the time or I cannot cover everything. I really hope people see that and they're like, ooh, like people, there's going to be a certain percentage of the community who want to watch those players compete.
Mm-hmm.
That's your opportunity, streamers, right there. Like, load it up because there's not going to be 10, 15,
Yeah, can you
20
make sure
other
you
streamers
don't cover
casting it.
half of them for my analytics? Can you make sure you're not?
Yeah, sure.
All right,
for you,
cool.
we can coordinate that a little bit.
Yeah, please don't stream your tournament, Tristan. Okay.
Yeah.
So Dave,
No.
if it's like Gold League too mainstream for you now, so you're gonna go down to Silver League because everybody's gonna be streaming Gold League. That's too mainstream for you right now.
If there's a Silver League, I'm more excited for that than Gold League.
Boom,
I
let's go.
love watching the potatoes, and I say potatoes, and like they're not. They're way better than I'll ever be. But like I love watching people make mistakes. I love watching people make mistakes. I love watching them panic. And when you watch games like that, and it's so important to these people because they're trying to rise up, it's not just another day. It's like they've been looking forward to this set the entire week. And they've been thinking about how they can win, right? And what they need to do. And then that all falls apart. And my favorite part of casting Age of Empires is when you can feel the emotion coming through.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's just something you're making up in your head, right? But I love that. I absolutely love that. And you get that way more in Silver League or Gold League than you do in Plat.
Yeah, dude.
That's such a good point.
And I don't want to talk too much about it, man, but like, so when Noble Apartment Cup was happening, that week was our final week of the silver qualifier bracket to get into gold. So we had Sorakuma versus Wide. We had all these matchups, and I was just glued to my phone in the hotel room and like in between sets, like, the main events happen in Noble Apartment Cup, no disrespect, but I'm like, oh God, it's game 7. And Dave's exactly right, man. Like, holy crap. Like the nerves are tangible, just tangible. And then like I got to see, so Wide qualified. He wasn't expected to qualify. And Vince had his like Discord or whatever up and I'm seeing messages, boom, 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 boom.
I remember that.
Probably just like, maybe just a dozen or two people, I don't know, but Wide was freaking out and everyone was freaking out, and I'm like Dave's right. Like when it becomes normal for a player to be in an S tier all the time, it's business, and that's awesome, and that's the best level, and we can appreciate that. But it's actually rare that we get to see some of these other hungry people. So
and see him get nervous and get all excited in the winners interviews.
What's your most memorable moments of Age of Empires 2 casting? I'm not actually asking him, just like hypothetical question here, right? Like, it's always the emotional ones, right? I think back to the Sebastian trying to qualify against ACCM for NAC. Do you remember that
lost,
one?
Right? Yeah.
I can still feel that, dude.
Yeah.
Like if I think of that moment, my heart starts beating, right? Like the depression is slowly creeping in, right? Because like it's just the feelings there. And that's what I love as a caster. And that's what I love as a viewer more than as a caster. Those moments, and you get that more at the lower levels.
Right now, I'm thinking MBL beating Hera in Red Bull.
Oh, yeah.
Is it 5?
100%.
What an amazing moment, too.
Yep. The elation and like the absolute disbelief on MBL's side.
Yeah.
And then,
you can see it all.
Hera was destroyed.
Yeah.
And then Dave and I were shaking, and like we didn't even know what to say. Yeah, like moments amazing. Like that. You're absolutely right. So, so I'm hoping a Titans League brings up a lot of new blood, and produces a lot of those crazy moments, and gives people opportunities.
I'm sure it will. All right, so Tristan, I think Neely is giving you this much money because, of course, he acknowledges the importance of this tournament. It's a very important tournament for the scene and all of that. But I think it's also because, as we said before, you're the biggest content creator in the professional scene. Now, if he's giving you $100,000, I imagine he's expecting something in return in terms of metrics and in terms of how many people are going to be watching this tournament. If I think back to TTL4, I know that peak viewership is not everything. It's probably not even the most important metric, probably not even the second most important metric, but you had only a 30,000 viewership peak for TTL4.
Pathetic.
Such a ridiculous number.
Depressing.
Yeah, but again, this is lower than S-tier tournaments usually have. But of course, we remember the numbers they were able to achieve with tournaments such as Hidden Cup. 70,000 viewers, 80,000 viewers, or whatever it was. So are you confident if you put all the weight of your promotion and of your brand promoting this tournament that you're going to get something closer to that, to the numbers of Hidden Cup 4? Or you think that's not doable with a tournament that's not Hidden Cup?
I don't think hitting Hidden Cup numbers is realistic.
Okay.
Nor is it been promised.
I mean, okay, you're revealing it hasn't been promised yet.
Yeah. Like I haven't promised that to Nili. In fact, I think I'm fortunate that this is the case. I don't know if this is the case for everyone, but it's not like, hey, I want this much money. Hey, this is how many viewers I think I can get and why. Nili goes, well, do this. And like, there's not like a big negotiation process. I think I have enough of a track record and the importance of TTL where what would probably happen is if it is horrible, then that might be the last one at that rate. So I'm grateful for that I'm not like having to have the stress of hitting that certain number. This past TTL, I didn't really, I was still so, I guess just like kind of heartbroken and hurt and burnt out for certain aspects because I went way overkill for Hidden Cup 5. And I shouldn't have, but I did. And so with TTL, it was like, dude, this is a format you really enjoy. You're going to have great viewers. Don't kill yourself, especially with the length of it. Don't kill yourself to the point where afterwards you look back and you don't enjoy it. So I didn't actually, it was pretty bad compared to any event I've done.
So is that what you're saying happened with Hidden Cup 5? You just put way too much. You were disappointed that it didn't hit as much.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff, but let's just say at the end of it, it kind of killed the joy that I should have had of certain aspects of it. And so TTL afterwards, yeah, viewership was like what 40K lower than Hidden Cup
5. Yeah,
I was overjoyed, man. I was overjoyed. Like the whole format, as Dave and I talked about, it delivered to the players that deserved it. I think the final was a sweep. I don't even remember at this point. It probably was.
Yeah.
So the final sucked, but I went into that final weekend and I remember telling Jamie, I was like, I don't care what happens this weekend. This event's been so sick.
Jamie is your fiance, if I'm not mistaken.
Fiance. Yeah,
oh, we're allowed to say her name now?
You can say her name.
Said it.
Oh, I can't just say your fiance anymore?
Yeah, I literally...
I've been dancing around that one for years.
She actually brought up to me, she's like... Because like the Lorena meme is dead.
Yeah.
And she was like, stop saying fiance, it's stupid. And I'm like, thank God, because that's annoying.
Yeah, I never got the memo, dude.
Sorry. Yeah.
By the way, I think, from what I heard you say, it feels like your wedding has got a set date now. I'm not asking you to reveal what it is, but that's
it's next year. Next year.
Well, congratulations. It only took you like 5 years, so well done.
I know. I know, right? Well, it's blame Age of Empires tournament calendar, right?
No,
I was like, I might not be able to ever get married with Nili at the helm.
Okay, so my next question was going to be why no Hidden Cup, but I feel like you already basically answered that question, and I feel like...
Well, in a way, yeah.
Well, if you want to say something more,
to finish my thought, to answer your question on the viewership front, I could definitely I'm in a spot to put more energy and effort into it. I've got some really cool ideas that I didn't want to do or wasn't able to do last time. So am I expecting more viewership than Hidden Cup? I don't think so. But am I hoping for more viewership than the previous season of TTL and to really have more reach? I am. But I don't have a number in mind for you. No, that's not really how.
Dude, I think that's awesome. The job, I mean, I'm only, I'll say, very part-time content creator, but this numbers chasing is so fucking, it destroys your mind. You know, always chasing numbers. It really destroys your mind. And I find it admirable that both of you, pretty much both of you, and not many other people, seem to have been able to sort of distance yourselves from that. And Dave is streaming Pokemon now half the time, and it feels like that's what you're doing, right? So trying to disassociate yourself from this constantly chasing numbers and constantly trying to hit more and more and more. That kind of destroys your soul, bro, and your mental health for sure. That's what I feel like.
That was what it was for me.
Okay, so Dave, let's go to you, bro. Masters of Hyperrandom 3.
Yep.
Also, Dave will be hosting a tournament next season, the Masters of Hyperrandom 3. This will be a 1v1 tournament, $10,000 prize pool, and it will run from September 29th until October 19th. The previous editions had only roughly $1,000 for the prize pool, so that has been massively upgraded for this one, but it seems to have come at the cost of you organizing another Wandering Warriors Cup, Dave, which will not be returning in next year's calendar. So I guess the first question would be, what excites you about Hyperrandom, and why did you decide to go for it at the expense of WWC 3?
Well, I wanna make clear that I am not doing most of the organizing stuff. I'm going to be the main content creator. I'll help them with the promotion of it, and I will be streaming most of it from my channel, and I'll be the name behind it. But it's the powerhouses behind this are the excellent admin team and Zetnus, who actually scripts the map, who's incredible. And Straggler Tree as well. We got Hitman in there. We got some really good people behind, and thank God for me, they are doing most of the work. And all I have to do is enjoy the game. So now I can get to your question. Right?
I suspected as much. I
want to give credit where it's due.
Right.
I had no plans of doing another Wandering Warriors Cup, at least this year, right? Maybe we follow up at some later date, but that's not even in my mind right now. I didn't particularly enjoy organizing in any sense, right? I'm not very good at it, and I don't enjoy it. And the analytics for that tournament, like I think that was one of the least successful months, the month of Wandering Warriors Cup 2 that my channel has had. So like it didn't really benefit anything from my channel, and I didn't enjoy it. So
what do you attribute that to, though?
Where is he on the screen? Where is he on the screen?
You're pointing.
No. I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the games a ton. I enjoyed watching the games a ton, right? Obviously, the final was fantastic. But the money situation, having to handle that and everything like that was just, we won't go too in depth with it, but I didn't particularly enjoy that. So Hyperrandom is completely different because I have a fantastic team behind. I'm not going to worry about viewership or anything like that. And I really love the games, and I really love the maps. Everything Tristan loves about Titans League, Hyperrandom is completely opposite to that, right? There's no preparation needed there aside from knowing what a canoe does and whether a wall has 1 HP or 300 HP.
I hate
if you get the reference, you get the reference.
I hate you.
You can't really prepare because the seeds are always different, right? You can't draft civs. There's no civ draft, or there's no real map draft other than, do you want it closed, or do you want it open, or do you want water, or do you want land? Because every single game is random civs. It's all the elements of Age of Empires 2 that I absolutely love to watch. It's just random resources, random civilizations. You can win by a wonder victory. You can win by a relic victory. There could be 1 relic. There could be 15. Mm-hmm. And you don't know till you scout, right? It could be Regicide. It could not be Regicide. You don't know. Half the time, people aren't ready for the Regicide victory condition because they don't know that the flags around your base mean that the unit that you got is the unit you need to keep alive, right? Like,
feel like this is another inside joke.
No, it's great. I love it. And another thing I love is that, we're probably not gonna have a lot of restarts. There is still the opportunity for restarts to happen, but most of the admin work and most of the kind of feelings of the admin team towards the players is, you knew what you signed up for. You're going random civs and a random resource thing. Like, you're crying to us. That's too bad, dude. Like, you said, I agree to the rules and terms of this tournament, right? Doesn't matter if there's Microsoft money behind
Hyperrandom. I love it.
Exactly. And I think like the prize pool for this is just about the limit that I would want to see for a Hyperrandom tournament, because anything more than that, kind of brings with it a certain responsibility from the organizers, to make it as fair as possible for the players. For this, it's kind of like we can spread that out across a number of people. Will get a nice chunk of change, but it's not going to be this ultra competitive thing, because that's not in the spirit of the map. The map is meant to just promote the craziness of Age of Empires 2, the adaptability of players, and it's going to be an incredibly fun time. I'm really, really looking forward to it. The only thing that sucks about getting the Microsoft money, and it really sucks, is that Tristan can't try and play again, and I can't laugh at his mistakes.
No, I think I can if I'm not organizing it.
Right.
No, I thought you couldn't. I thought you couldn't play in any.
No.
Tournament.
I can play as long as I'm not organizing.
Yeah. That's what I understood
Did they change
as well.
that?
Yeah.
So
rejoice, Dave.
The one I want to play in the most.
I'm way happier now.
The one I want to play in the most is not the one that you're going to be casting all the games. Let me believe you. I want to play Titans League, bro. But yeah, but that's all right. I'll do my research on fences next time.
So are you going to keep, because I actually read through the whole handbook and I saw that you have, even for restarts, you have random sieves, which I don't think I've ever seen before. So you're going to keep that? I think it's fun. So you have
random sieves are great, even for restarts. Yeah. Like each
even
player
for restarts
gets,
part is new, I think.
Each player gets one restart, and sometimes you just need one, right? And I think back to the Hyperrandom sets that I played. I think I played in like the B League or something like that. And I matched up against a Ladushek, and there's a couple of matches there where I should have called a re, because you really need a re in this Civ matchups, right? One pawn in the center, one tile gap on either side, and I'm playing Malians against Byzantines. Why didn't I call a re? Like, I can't win that, right? It's just kind of stupid and inexperience on my part, but still, it's a really fun format. I love the fact it's all random civs. We get to see so many cool things, and then the random resources and random base layout and everything just adds so much.
Mm-hmm. And it's is it going to be single elimination into a double elimination again? I think that's what it was before.
I think so. We're still hammering out the details. I mean, it starts in late September, right? So we're still trying to figure out how many qualifiers we want for it and everything like that. That's the admin team behind the scenes. You'll know more soon. It is going to be, let me just double check the dates here. September 29 to October 19th.
I said at the beginning. Yeah, correct. That's what it is. So the first Hyperrandom was won by Velez. The second was won by Winchester. Do you see Hera still being the favorite, even though it's an 8-year tournament?
Well, I mean, if we keep with the trend, then there's just a different player with a V for their name, right? So it's got to be,
Viper?
I mean, the next one's got to be Valis. Honestly,
yeah, I was gonna say
Viper. No,
it's a V.
Or vodka. Don't forget about vodka.
Yeah, vodka. Yeah.
That's a good shout. Yeah. Okay. So Dave, you actually already sort of addressed this, but I wonder if you have more to say. So WWC 1 had a $25,000 prize pool. WWC 2 had a 22.5 prize pool. $1,000, of course. And my Masters of Hyperrandom is getting only 10,000. You already said that you really wouldn't want more than that, because then you feel like it's probably too random. Does that mean maybe you're still going to get another 10,000 to organize something else this year? Is that something you think about? Is that something that could be possible, or that's it?
Honestly, dude, I think if I'm going to organize anything else, it's not going to be with Microsoft money. I think I would do it with my own cash. If I really want to host something, I don't want to go through all this stuff, and the Canada Revenue Agency already doesn't understand what I do, so it just makes things complicated. I don't want that headache. It's not pleasant for me, and it doesn't necessarily work better for my channel than it would if I hosted, the occasional Money Match Monday, which I used to do, right, where I put up like $500 for a best of 7 on mini maps or something like that, right? So for me, I think it's just much more appealing to just fork out my own money and do my own events and have no one looking over my shoulder and no responsibilities and no agreements to sign or anything like that. I'll leave the Microsoft change for somebody else that enjoys doing it and that feels like they can really, grow a tournament with that. So take my money. Take my allocated
my money. Yeah, shut up and take my money. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So that's something that you're also planning. So in the future, you're not really planning on applying for more sponsorship money, unless
not at the moment. Maybe if I have, maybe if I don't, not in the moment. No.
Okay, just not the moment. Let's leave it at that. Okay, so I like to make a few quick community shout outs here. So to those of you who already follow the Start the Game Already podcast, it's important to know they're now in English. They asked me to give them a shout out, and I'm doing it. So they now have weekly episodes. They used to be in German. Now they're fully in English, and they have like interviews. They talk about history of strategies. They have, for example, Barles talking about one of the strategies that he did, I think, in Warlords. I don't remember what it was. I think it was a tower rush, a particular type of tower rush. And Barles was on explaining how he did it, how he came up with it. So it's a really interesting podcast, and so feel free to check them out. Then our base, I think that's your admin or your mod, Tristan. He asked me to give a shout outs to community tournaments, which indeed is something we don't often talk about here. So if you have that competitive itch that you would like that scratch, check out what was the website again? AoE2tournaments.com. You can see all the ongoing tournaments and upcoming tournaments. You have stuff like Warlords Community Tournament. You have the T90 Community Cup that's also coming up. So all of these tournaments are a lot of fun from what I hear. And people don't need to fear like they're going to get destroyed or anything like that. We don't have any pros from what I understand in any of these tournaments. So feel free to check that out. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun for those of you who like to be competitive. Okay, Tristan, Regicide Rumble 6. It's going to start this Wednesday. Give me your best sales pitch for why the Town Center audience should watch it. Sell me this pen. Do you guys remember that movie? What was it? Is it The Wolf of Wall Street? Sell me this pen. Does nobody know what I'm talking about?
Yep, that's Wolf of... Yeah, I know what that is. Yeah, that might... But also, that's like a really common phrase. That might have been in a bunch of movies.
Oh, fair enough.
Anyways, Regicide Rumble 6, $5,000 prize pool. You have 2 community days, so anyone, Nelson, you should try. You can enter, and if you get selected,
wait, you gotta
25.
Can you rig me in? If you promise you rig me in, okay.
Do you actually want that?
No.
Do you actually want that?
I haven't played it
because I might.
Pro.
All right. Well, $25 per king kill. If you're in the top 3, you also get placement prize. So regular Joes can sign up and play Wednesday and Thursday. There's been legendary games over the years when we've done this. Then there's the pro day. So, like Doubt's in a game, Tato's in a game, ACCM's playing, Hope's playing. The guy who killed Yo last time, which is probably the reason that Yo didn't sign up, who's 1600 elo, Sully, he's playing. Kamigawa, who won like Regicide Rumble 2 like back in the day, and then he won this past time. Like, there are people who are really good at these. I think the weakest player we have from the pro signups is 2K3.
Okay.
All the way, so it's like we have a lot of the big names.
That would be roughly my level, if you're wondering.
Are the signups closed?
Signups are closed at this point. Yeah.
Can you rig me in?
For the pro game, you want to play the pro or the community?
No. Oh, whoa. I feel like I do better in the pro game than the community game, honestly, dude. Because sometimes you just need to sit in the corner and just kind of like let them go at it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like Margugu and MBL and Ween Dinchester and Lewis, they're all in the same game. They're already talking shit. Talking shit.
You remember back in the day, Tristan, I did win one of the pro King of the Hill matches for Nilly's tournament. King of the Hippo.
King of the Hippo, yeah, dude.
Yeah, I won the most stacked match in there because no one knew.
Knows how to win.
No one even looked at me. No one even looked at me, dude. Yeah.
So, anyways, it's just really fun. You have high-level Age of Empires in free-for-all setting. And, whether it's players making mistake, like last time Lewis and Dogao, they hated each other. And then they were both trying to, like, make up and ally, but they were sending the message to other people, and they weren't receiving it. So they both got mad at the other because the other one wasn't accepting the alliance, even though they both wanted an alliance. It was so funny. All the while, one guy's literally just sending them both resources to fight each other for an hour. Like, stuff like that is just different. So that's Regicide Rumble. But it's not everyone's cup of tea. Some top players didn't sign up because they might not want to be ganged up on.
They're scared. Just say it, bro. Just say
it. And that's all good. So, but that's it. It's 5 days, and I'm lucky to be able to host something like this. So.
All right, guys, this was a lot of fun as always with you. Thank you so much for joining me today, replacing Viper. What's going to be the little joke, right? That Viper is going to be saying, hey, you needed 2 guys to replace me. That's what you guys are going to be hearing from him, and not from me, from him only. So again, guys, was awesome. Thank you so much for joining.
Yep, thank you.
Bye. I love you.
I love you. I'll take that one. I'll take that one.
Good.
If you guys enjoyed the show, you know what you have to do. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that. And I'll see you next time.